So good morning. Last Friday morning, I got the opportunity to spend my morning with 111 young girls, ages between 8 and 12 years old, at Phoenix College in Johannesburg, under the umbrella of the program Mastercard Girls for Tech. So that's a program where we bring girls together and we teach them all about science, engineering, technology, and math, because we want to open their eyes to all the possibilities, knowing that those skills are going to become increasingly important no matter what they choose to do. But we also just want them to believe that they have every opportunity in front of them. We also know that those skills are going to allow them to also narrow that gender gap that exists between them and their male peers. So when I walked in, I asked the girls about who wanted to build electric cars at some point in their career, and I got a few hands that came up. And I asked those of them that would like to perhaps, build buildings, and I got a few more nods. And I went through this list of potential careers for them, and you see this increasing hope and excitement in their eyes. And as they were all getting ready to go to their stations, where they're going to work at teams and learn about things like algorithms and digital convergence and cryptocurrency, and they're pulling on their t-shirts for Girls for Tech. And I'm looking at their hopeful faces, and they file past me with these smiles and sort of sheepishly looking at me. And I'm smiling them with all the encouragement and optimism because I see every opportunity in them. And at the same time, I couldn't help but ask myself, are they walking into a world that's going to give them every opportunity that they deserve? Inequality and exclusion still hold girls and women back in many aspects of their everyday lives. While positive steps have been taken to level the playing field, too much of the world is still designed without women in mind and without women involved. And often the data that we're relying on doesn't capture women's experiences. And we fail to spot the barriers to prevent women from seizing the opportunities that we want to create. At this moment, in just about every country in the world, there are large gaps in economic opportunities and outcomes for women. A quarter of African girls today are not in school at all. African women are significantly less likely to own a smartphone. And when you think about a world that's becoming increasingly digital, you can appreciate that that comes at the cost of exclusion. Women are much more likely to work in the informal economy. That means that they're transacting in cash. Cash is invisible, and it's not safe. And 2/3 of women in sub-Saharan Africa don't have access to a bank account. That's a staggering number. Women entrepreneurs, though, are opening successful businesses faster than ever before, but they still don't receive the funding, the support, or the attention that they merit. Only 3% of global venture dollars are invested in female-only funded startups. These lingering barriers to women's earnings, their assets, their participation, their recognition in global financial systems continue to limit their possibilities. It's not just for them as individuals, but also for their communities. They also hold back the economic growth. One estimate even shows that in an optimum labor market, if we had gender parity, we could increase the GDP by 28 trillion by 2025. So how do you design a world with women in mind and where women are involved? First, I think it starts by just the very power you have as an employer. It's seeing that diversity is not a nice thing to do. There's actually a business imperative. A company is richer by its diversity. And if everyone that is sitting there looks the same, you have blind spots, and that means you have risk. We've been recognized by the Bloomberg Equality Index Diversity's top 50 companies for diversity. And 50% of our new hires in Middle East and Africa in 2018 were women. Our vice chairman's mandate is to ensure diversity in all roles, at all levels. And we're doing that not just so that we have great hiring stats. We're doing it because it's the right thing. And when women join, we want to make sure that we're constantly challenging ourselves to make sure that we've got a level playing field. And that means looking at things like our policies, such as parental leave, and saying that we should make sure that both women and men get to take a substantial amount of time away with their children. Secondly, I think it's defining a business need and really declaring it so that, again, it's understood that there's a real business opportunity and imperative to doing this. We recently implemented a program called Women by Design, which requires us to incorporate women's perspectives in the design of all products. So why did we do this? We did it because 73% of women worldwide have said that they're not happy with the financial products that are offered to them. And we know that it's close to 90% of decisions made by African women when it comes to household purchases are either made solely by them or they're co-made by them. So Women by Design is not just about asking women what works and doesn't work and doing more research. It really means understanding women's views because we're incorporating women in every step of the product design process. And I want to be clear that this isn't about pink washing a product, right? It's not about just saying we're going to create a pink credit card and somehow that's going to solve women's needs. It's about truly understanding deeply and saying that you want to deliver real value. And when women's financial needs are met, it's a win for women, their families, and businesses like our own. We also have the Mastercard Financial Labs for Financial Inclusion, where we use data and insights the labs generate to support women's businesses. So this Mastercard Index for women entrepreneurs that we have shows that women are creating more businesses than men in Ghana, Nigeria, Uganda, and they're closing the gap in Angola and in Malawi. We have to fuel every one of those efforts to drive equality. And sometimes it's as simple as doing what we've done today, which is sitting in this room. We have 40 entrepreneurs that we offered tickets to, because sometimes all you need to do is just open the door and give them access to a day like this. Third, it's knowing that we have a responsibility to lead change that goes well beyond our company walls. We have the Center for Financial Inclusion, whose premise is that if you include people, particularly women, in the digital economy, their education and economic prospects will improve. We have the goal of bringing 500 million people into the digital economy by the end of 2020, and we're going to meet that goal. We'll achieve that goal knowing that we've provided largely women with financial access that really affords the dignity of saying, I see you. So when I was reflecting on the theme of this day, breaking the glass ceiling, power with purpose, I looked at the first part of it with breaking the glass ceiling, and I look at a room like this. Your individual growth in your businesses, your careers, you're breaking that glass ceiling. Your success is actually making it so that this is the norm. It's no longer the exception. And when I go back to thinking about those girls that I met last Friday morning at Phoenix College, I think about how we can plant the seeds and we can open up the opportunities, but they need to be able to look out into a world and see examples like you. When I think about power with purpose, it's predicted that African women are going to only achieve equality in 142 years. Well, I'm not willing to wait that long. I want equality in my lifetime. All of us here, we're leaders. And so my challenge to you is to say, don't wait until you think you've achieved that image that you have for yourself of full success. Don't wait until you think you've accumulated all of your power. Start by just increasing the efforts to mentor, to promote women within your own companies and your businesses. Support women-led businesses. As I just told you, 90% of purchasing decisions are being made by you in this room. Just think of what that would look like if you made a conscious consumer decision to buy from a small woman's business. And then design products with women's input. And then simply just sponsor girls in schools. After all, a world that works better for women creates limitless possibilities for all of us. So let me close where I started, which is the importance of believing in girls and opening the doors for them so they can see all the possibilities. So on a personal note, my cousin Richard, who's a very dear relative of mine, gave me a subscription to Forbes magazine when I was 17 years old. And he said he wanted to open the eyes of this young woman living in rural Canada, where I can assure you that Forbes was far from everybody's minds and certainly far from everybody's reality. But to be able to stand on the stage today and speak to you is truly a full circle moment. But it's also proof of what can happen when we see the potential in a woman, and we see it not only as an opportunity, but truly a responsibility to afford them every opportunity that we can. So thank you to Forbes, Thank you to the government of KwaZulu-Natal, and thank you very much for being here.